got called in by this client. We were called in for several other clients prior to this, but we got called into this by this client shortly after they unfroze, what they called unfroze the area around the World Trade Center. For a long period of time, the fire department had the whole area frozen, so you couldn't really go in and do any work.
I received a call very late at night from Dr. Lee. Essentially, he was very concerned that he had come across a project that, you know, he wasn't sure if he could handle.
We got a call from Deutsche Bank, which was the owners of the former First Federal Trust building, right on the south side of the World Trade Center. When the South Tower came down, huge steel beams penetrated and caused a gash about, I think it was about 17 stories high, 50, 100 feet wide. They had cleaned out a building and reoccupied it. And then somebody discovered some dust in the building that proved to be dioxins. Was this material hazardous? And if so, how hazardous? Ultimately, for all the buildings around, and ultimately for the EPA and other agencies, was the determining factor. How did you had to know what was there and what its toxicity was, or how hazardous it was, or how bad chemically it was, before you could say, okay, here's what I really have to do to clean it up. In fact, what happened in the World Trade Center event was the planes hit, they caused a fire, and then as the building came down, every kind of building component was pulverized, ground into the finest powder you could imagine. But then following that was a pressure wave that was as strong as a F3 tornado.
And that wind speeds were upwards of well over 100 miles an hour, maybe 130 miles an hour.
It would knock you over, it would knock trucks over, and that's what the people felt when they were running from the World Trade Center.
And that pressure wave essentially created a vacuum in these building spaces that pulled this material into the deepest reaches of these buildings.
Then after that, once you had that pile of debris, you'll remember, I remember the firemen crawling around this hot, smoldering structure. And the fires continued, I don't remember, but for months after the fact. And they continued to cause emissions that got into the building, and not just that building, buildings around there.